Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. So this, unfortunately, is going to be the last episode of my Barbarian Gladiator series. Truthfully, it's been a blast, and I'm excited to show you some of my Bardiche gameplay. Overall, I have enjoyed making these videos. It's been kind of an interesting journey, considering I never thought I'd be sharing any of these videos with you guys. But today's topic of discussion is going to be the Bardiche, and kind of my short little time I had with it during the end of this series. I'm very much looking forward to playing this game again, creating content for this game again, whether it be Gladiator series or other ideas I have for the fighter class. I'm excited for it all. At this moment, with the timeline and court stuff going on, I feel like every time I make one of these, it kind of hurts a little more. Like, man, all the ideas start flooding back to my head. Wielding this Bardiche and watching this gameplay, I get all these incredible ideas of what you could do with the Barbarian class in this Gladiator series with even blue gear. I start going back and looking at damage numbers and perks and skills and armor settings for my fighter class and how to best equip them to now maybe deal with warlocks. It's overwhelming in a way, considering we don't even have a game to play. So, this will be it for a while. I don't know what's coming next. It'll be the first time in pretty much 6 months where I haven't consistently tried to put out videos relating to Dark and Darker with new gameplay in every single video. So I thank you all for this journey. I'm up to like 1,600 subs, something I didn't really think was possible when I shared that first video. Kicking this one off, we kind of had a little bit of a learning experience with this Bardiche, considering I've never ever used one before in all my time with Dark and Darker. So I do hear a guy close by, and I think probably my best option here is just to throw axes at him and use Achilles strike. So I lean heavily into the axes, as they are very powerful on a level 1, well, early gear setup barb. Just have to hit them is the main problem. And this guy jukes just around the edge. I did not think he was going to be missing that one. And that swing speed, dual wield, fighter setup is exactly why I love it. That makes me miss my fighter class even more, seeing this guy rock the sword and torch like I had been rocking for 90% of this playtest. Kudos to that guy. I whiffed hard. Really should have just kept my range with Bardiche and thunked him on the head a couple times. Likely would have been an easy kill, considering he just W-keyed at me in a very kind of narrow spot that would have worked well with the Bardiche. So, we're not just going to let it die there. We do go and purchase another one quite quickly with a little bit of our cash and jump into another game. This is a learning experience. I'm not the best Bardiche player in the world, nor the best Barb player in the world. It's just kind of a fun thing to try. Getting a very familiar spawn, Human Mummy spawn at the very start. The amount of times these two have been featured in my videos is quite astounding. It's a very popular spawn for me for some reason. I much prefer the round open room where you can fight people right off the start. But this one I've kind of gotten familiar with. And maybe it's our lucky day because I do actually hear a guy quite soon after we spawn into this one. This ranger's completely oblivious to us. We shout, Achilles strike, and this time we actually land the axe throw. So he's pretty much doomed. And one final smash to the face, which is very satisfying. I would be very interested to see how well a Bardiche would perform on a fighter class if it was one of their weapons. I know a lot of people love the halberd, and a lot of people love the spear. Bardiche kind of got a similar swing as you long downward chop into a spear thrust, or a lunging thrust into their forehead. Really might not be a bad option if it was possible on a fully geared kind of tank fighter setup, where you're basically just keeping your space from people. Picking up my throwing axe, which is basically the best weapon in this game, we continue on. And I will just say, at this moment, I have no idea where these potions came from. I know there's a recording in the middle here somewhere that got just some sort of weird error, and I had a game where it was just an entire black screen lobby. So I think it may have been one that just didn't record right, or I forgot to record it, or even a lobby that didn't have a lot of players, and I'd pretty much given up on finishing this series off to its full potential at a level 20 Barbarian. Just didn't have the time or the willpower to see this one through with all the other things I was trying to test. This room I almost never enter, after this large room with bats in it. I really hate goblin archers, and usually try to do what I can to avoid them. This area has a couple of them as well if you get close to that health shrine. But dealing with these guys shouldn't be too difficult. That's surprising that it only took 2 swings, actually. As I'm swinging at these, I hear Barbarian to my right. We may have found a willing combatant for this Gladiator series. Looks like he's got the starter axe. So this could be potentially a really simple fight for us. Just missed the Achilles strike and decide to push this guy, not realizing the goblins are right on my tail, which leaves me in a really horrible position with a mob in my face, a barbarian waiting for me to push in his direction as he's throwing axes at me, and then a goblin archer blocking the doorway so I can't leave. If I try to fight these mobs, I'm definitely going to take arrows from that goblin or an axe to the back of the head. I really don't want to drop down because I hate the lower levels, and this guy is actually just kind of watching this happen, so we do what we can to get out of here and get some distance. Really tempted to use this throwing axe on that archer with Achilles strike. We save it. And try to lure these guys into a direction where we can be a little bit more comfortable. Making use of this lovely potion as a gift from the gods of sorts. He closed the door on us, which is an absolute dick move. And almost even worse, the goblin had weird aggro going on as it was switching from him to me. So it pathed in a direction I was not expecting. Just chaos. Not enjoying this at all. Truthfully, I was expecting a war axe to the face, or a battle axe, whichever it is, the second I opened that door. He seemed to kind of leave me be, but we're at like 40% HP, which is pretty much one-shot range for his axe. Or even one-shot range for an Achilles strike axe, really. And we kind of decide, you know what, maybe it's best to just live to fight another day, keep this Bardiche, and see how well we can do with it in the next game. This is exactly what we'll do. We made absolutely 0 gold killing that archer. They have absolutely nothing of value on them that a barbarian can use right off the hop. Whereas if you're on a fighter class, you can always weapon mastery, take the recurve bow for yourself. Really, really awesome killing archers starting out as a fighter. Not so much fun as a barbarian. Getting this kind of more unique spawn for me, we get the big open chamber with pillars in the center and the up and down stairs to the goblin champion. Or not the goblin champion, sorry, the skeleton champion. And then we get the death beetle room over here. He tags me with that little stinger, hits me again on a crazy incline, and then hits me again on a crazy incline, leaving us really, really hurt. Not a huge issue in this situation because we have the health shrine, but make sure we just don't straight up die to somebody else. Hoping we have enough space to kind of grab this shrine and not aggro the beetle. We try to sneak in and grab this, and unfortunately, death beetles don't let you off that easy. And rather than fighting that goblin mage again, which pretty much ended a run early on in this series, we'll avoid that room entirely for a little while. The room I always like to try to venture into is that large open one. We got a fighter guy here. He looks like he kind of wants to fight. As he's breaking those boards, we ready our most powerful weapon, which is an Achilles strike, which he blocked very successfully. Now we resort to shouting and swinging. That's exactly what we're going to do. Trying to keep this guy a little bit out of his reach and keep our Bardiche in its kind of sweet spot. Blocks another swing. We get the stab off. Really hoping that third swing would connect, but it didn't. Then we smash the wall and then smash his face. Kind of an awkward exchange where even his weapon was hitting the roof and the walls, which is kind of surprising considering he was using an arming sword. And unlucky for that guy, he just didn't have any damage, which is kind of the whole situation that, you know, base gear fighter gets into. We rest up, take some of his loot, and I actually want to keep the chest plate off because it increases my damage with that. I think it's Berserker perk, or whatever perk it is, the bare-chested one that allows you to have a little bit of bump in damage if you're going without any chest pieces on. We're going to try to sneak through here as best we can, but we got a red death beetle on us. Don't see those all that often. But same old, we just kind of lure this guy. Thinking we're free and clear, he actually does land a hit on us, which really surprises me. we're gonna kind of make our way around into the center of the map. Trying to find at least one more guy to fight here. Our kill totals aren't looking too terrible, but I haven't really had that moment where I'm just like super pumped with the Barbarian class, like 1v1 fight. Just don't get that. I swing a big weapon, it hits really hard, or I throw the throwing axes. And really, I'm actually making it a little bit more difficult for myself using weapons like the Bardiche, when I could be using felling axe or horseman's axe along those lines, and really just pump out some damage quite quickly. Barbarian's a great class. I do enjoy just the whole style of it. It feels very barbarian. But I find it too, like just W key or throwing axes. Yeah, basically you just do more damage than the other melee classes, so that's all you have going for you. Whereas on the fighter class, I always feel like there's some way I can, well, basically you have to try to find a way to outplay, outmaneuver anybody when you're going with early weapons or early gear sets. So this Death Beetle does another number on us, and we've taken a shit ton, like a ton of PvE damage on this Barbarian with no real way to heal it back. Not the best method of trying to win this series. And now we have Goblin Mage chasing us, which I absolutely hate because he's difficult to swing at with a class as slow as the Barbarian, and two-handed weapons being as slow as they are. It's a real frustrating battle. And he lands a hit on us, and so too does his little henchman. And now we're running scared, slowly dying, with a bunch of mobs on us. Hopefully it doesn't end this way. I really don't want to be ending this series on a note of he died to Goblin Mage. Luckily, we got by that hurdle, and the blue portal's here for us to take. I hear wet little feet, or feet of some kind. Those goblins, I think, aggroed. And we're gonna get out of here. Unfortunately, we didn't get any more PvP. And like I said at the intro to this one, it's something I definitely want to do more of, and it will be more intense, more crazy. This was like a thrown together idea that I had midway through the playtest. So, I appreciate you all. I thank you all for being here. I really wish we could play this game again. I don't care what class. I would play any class, even the wizard, any amount of time, and still enjoy the crap out of it. So, this is kind of how it ends. We have, we actually got a few things there we could sell and probably have 300 or 400 gold and equip our Barbarian quite nicely if we wanted to or had time to continue this series. Same with the fighter class. We actually did fine, never looting a chest or any of the PvE mobs. So it's possible. I really wish I had more for you guys, but this is the best I can do for now. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully we'll be in the dungeon soon, or at least learn soon about what's happening to the dungeon.
Ow. Ow. I have nothing on me. I'm no use.
Yeah, pretty much same here. I've spent like 300 gold at the Goblin Merchant and got all grades in one. Not even 300. I bought 6 things and got 1 green.
Jesus.